Hey guys, it's me, Down Under Tea, and it has been a while since the 4th of July, and a lot has been going on in politics and in my personal life, which is why I haven't been around. Also, sometimes, you just can't be fucked doing it because everything's so awful to listen to. It's like, why do I just want to go on here and perpetuate more bad news? So I've been off the air for a few weeks, almost a month now. Because yes, my last broadcast was on the 4th of July. Excuse me. It's cold out here in the studio. And it was our broadcast of John Adams. It was a great little mini-series. If anyone out here watched it, I hope you enjoyed it. But wow. Shitloads have happened since I've been around last. We've had the Epstein files, which turned out to be a nothing burger. And we had the shooting that just occurred in New York City. We'll talk about that and the people that are trying to garner attention for certain political races that are inserting themselves into this sphere. Luckily, they had an easy in. And we'll talk about that. We're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. Hang on. We are going back to the moon. We're going back to the moon, people. How about that? How long has it been? Did he say 50 years? I think I heard them say 50 years since, when was it, 1970? 1970. I can't even remember. Good Lord, how bad's that? And we're going back. They said that we were never going to do it. Why haven't we done it? We managed to do it all those years ago. Why haven't we gone back in so long? Of course, there are the people that have long suspected that we never went to the moon in the first place. So are we really going back is the question. But yeah, lots and lots of stuff. Epstein, Trump in Scotland. It's not really a lot. Oh, of course, the American Eagle jeans commercial. What's her name? Sarah Sweeney Sarah Sweeney, I think. She's from the White Lotus. I've been furiously, because I've been off the air for so long, I've been watching a lot of news, but I have been like furiously making notes, and if you look down you'll see I've got all like post-it notes all over the place. Whenever I like heard something that I wanted to remember, I wrote it on a post-it note. So now I've got like 80 post-it notes all spread around me. And I'll probably get confused along the way. Plus, along with that, I've got like 3 pages of notes here, and I've got 3 pages of notes in my book. So I don't know if it's going to be a very long show. I'm going to try and get through it quick because it's already 12:30 over here. So it's 11 o'clock in the States. I know that, 11 a.m. in the States, in the East Coast. So I'm going to try and get through it all. But first of all, we're going to start with the big explosion, the news that was never really news to us, that the Russia hoax was a big fat hoax, as we all knew, as we all predicted many years ago. And all of that taxpayer, hard-earned taxpayer money that you guys spent on trying to impeach the president over it, and just annihilated everything he tried to do in his first administration. Well, guys, phooey on you. We caught you out. Here's one thing that I just don't understand about these, like, black ops or whatever you want to call them, dark ops. How do they work exactly? Like, so we've heard the story that's been around the news about Kash Patel finding a room full of burn bags with all this evidence in there, which is where this annexed report came from. I haven't read it. I've sort of skimmed through bits and pieces of it, but I was planning to read it tonight, but then I forgot I had a birthday dinner to attend, so I'm all dressed up tonight, wearing my sparkly pants. So I'm all dressed up tonight, and I thought, well, while I've got my face on, I might as well do a podcast. So that's what brings me to you tonight, or today. So, yeah, like, this was in a locked room, in a secret locked room that Kash Patel somehow, I mean, what did he do, lean on a book or something and a door opened up in the FBI? I just don't, I don't get it. Like, what is the deal with this secret room business for a start? So I have many questions there just on that alone. Like, who had the keys to this secret room? Was it just like a door? Was it, like I said, like a big bookshelf or something, and you pull the funkin' wagnalls the right way and the door would open? Explain that one first. Then, like, they've got apparently bags and bags of things that are in there that were marked to be destroyed that weren't destroyed. Okay, so first of all, who had access to that room? Who knew about that room? Is this the secret room that Kash Patel was talking about on Joe Rogan that only Comey had access to? Well, then we start there. Do we not start there? Is that not logical to start with James Comey, considering he was the only one that knew about the room, had access to the room, didn't tell you about the room? I think we should start there. I mean, that's just my opinion. I'm not an FBI agent. But, you know, I mean, I am a mother. If I try to figure out who ate all the biscuits, then I start with the obvious choices first, which is the kid that used to eat all the biscuits. I won't name the name. I won't name names. But it's beyond me that something like this would be found in a burn room that James Comey just happened to forget was in the burn room, that basically puts his fingerprints all over the Russia hoax. His, Barack Obama's, Clapper, Brennan, Biden, Hillary, of course. Like, why? What purpose would James Comey have had to have not burnt these papers and whatever other stuff that was marked to be burnt? What purpose would there be? What gain? Qui bono, as they say in Latin. Who stands to gain from those classified documents not being burnt? And if you add on to that, how did they gain if they left them there to be found by whomever took over the next? Like, Christopher Wray took over. From my understanding, Christopher Wray took over. Did Christopher Wray not know about the secret room? Did James Comey think that maybe he'll just one day walk in there and he'll be able to get all of the stuff out unnoticed after he'd been fired? Make me understand, please. So these are the questions I have, right? Why didn't James Comey or Clapper or Biden or Obama or anyone that was involved in this make sure, like, why didn't they bleach pit, like Hillary bleach pitted herself, her phones and all of her stuff? Like, this talks about the missing emails. It talks about how the Russia hoax will make them forget about Hillary's 30,000 lost emails. Remember those emails, the ones that Trump said, Russia, if you're listening, if you find the emails, let me know. I mean, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you say that to bloody Putin? You know? I don't get it. This is pretty big, but it's not. As we all know, the wheels of justice grind slowly, and in this case, they're going to grind slower than a train without train tracks, right? Because who wants to take charge of this investigation? Really, like, people like, if there was in the AG's office somebody like Matt Gaetz, he would take this on with relish. How many times did he have to sit opposite these guys and have them lie to his face? Literally lie to his face under oath in Congress. Could you imagine Matt Gaetz if he was the AG? Oh my God, we so missed out. And I'm not saying we as in me, because it doesn't really benefit me, though it does benefit me in a way because everything flows on and I'm part of the flow on. So we missed out when Matt Gaetz was ousted from the race and is now wearing much too much fake tan on OAN. We so missed out, and congratulations to him. He's doing well, he's having a baby, all of that stuff. But could you imagine, like, how long's Pam Bondi been in? Just under 6 months. No one of consequence has been arrested. Not one single body has been arrested. Imagine if Matt Gaetz was in there. Oh my God, we'd have like 15 special counsels, everyone be in jumpsuits, orange jumpsuits. Biden would have to be wheelchaired into court. You know, it'd just be bloody marvellous to watch. It's so sad that we don't get to watch it. And we won't get to watch it because these people are slipperier than eels and they will dodge everything. If anything, we might be lucky enough to get some of the lower downs, like the Strocks and the, what was her name, Lisa Page, those two that were like having an affair, and you remember the text messages and we won't let him win, we've got a backup, we've got an insurance policy or some crap. That's it. There's your insurance policy, folks. It's about as thick as an insurance policy. Now, admittedly, some of this stuff is doubled up because they found alternate emails. Like, so, what was his name? The lawyer dude. Leonard Bernardo was sending people, or not lawyer, I think it was a DNC dude. Anyway, he was sending people emails and slightly changing, like everything else was the same, but then slightly changing or taking out a line here and adding a line there. So there was like two different versions of the email. So there is like double copies. This is basically the annex. So this was produced on May the 12th, 2023. Now, I think the original stuff was released in 2022 from memory. So this was done by John Durham, I think. Yeah. And so John Durham investigated Mueller. So we've had two special counsels on this, plus all the Congress hearings and all of the other crap, all the investigate, all the billions of dollars, all the billions and billions of dollars that have gone into putting together this bullshit. And that's all it is. It's absolute, from the ground up, bullshit. From the ground up. So it started on table talk at a bar. That's how this Steele dossier came into being. And the guy that told Christopher Steele told him, hey, this is just like rumour and innuendo. You can't use this in an investigation. But somehow, good old Christopher Steele, who was getting paid, managed to do it. Can you blame him? He got paid. He didn't care that he ruined countless people's lives. He didn't care that he ruined 4 years of Donald Trump's, not just his presidency, but his whole administration. They tried to insert this into everything. Everything. And so Hannity had a good little, I know, Hannity, everybody hates Fox at the moment, but sometimes you can get up-to-date stuff on there. I always try and find other stuff to back up what they're saying anyway. That's my own, I do that on my own purview. I'm just going to bring you this episode from Hannity, because this clip from Hannity, because it's easy to source these things. Fox stuff is easy to source. CNN stuff is easy to source. So now this is to last night's show, and he had a little bit of a blurb in there about how in 2016 every single media outlet, except for the conservative media, of course, we knew better, was telling us that Trump was compromised. He was compromised. He is in bed with the Russians, and they did influence the election for him to win it. So it's all just a crock of shit. The whole freaking lot is smoke and mirrors. That's all it is. All it ever was. The real story was buried with this. This was created to bury the truth of what Hillary Clinton was doing. And Barack Obama and Joe Biden willingly and knowingly went along with it. Never forget that. These two, the president, and as I said, he's got immunity. Joe Biden doesn't have immunity, though. He's vice president. He does not have immunity, and he did not pardon himself. So Barack Obama could be forced to testify because he has immunity. He cannot lie, because if he lies in something that's already proven, right, then he goes to jail. Then he gets done for perjury as a civilian. He's just a civilian now. He's not a president anymore. He doesn't have any more immunity. He has the immunity to tell us what he did during his presidency. Thank you to Donald Trump. I hope he writes him a love letter thanking him, because otherwise he could have his ass hauled off to jail. Don't forget, that's what they tried to do to Trump. Remember, they tried to impeach him after he'd left the office. This is how far the Republican system, the Democratic Republic system has fallen. They tried to impeach a president after he left office. And if not for Trump fighting that, Barack Obama's ass could be heading towards a cold stone jail cell because of this shit that was supposed to be burnt and wasn't. This is the intelligence. How intelligent are they for me to now be sitting with a copy of this? Even if it is 12 years later, 11, 10 years later. How intelligent can they possibly be? It's just, it's so, confounds me. That's the word I'm looking for. All right, let's get on to this. We'll watch this. Let's hope that it bloody screen share. I have to select it now, won't I? There it is. Go back here. And I'll go here. Oop. Hang on. Oh, whoa, baby. Okay. So, it's about 7 minutes long, and it's got that little blurb in there that I talked about them all going off about Russia. So, have a listen, and we'll chat on the other side.
Though with a smoking gun, this has been the product of 7 to 8 years of coverage on this program, and that is the classified annex from the Durham report is classified no more. The newly revealed evidence might be more explosive than anything we have seen to date. Senator Grassley seems to think so. As a reminder, Special Counsel John Durham, he was tasked under Trump's first term to investigate the sketchy origins of the Russia hoax. But for whatever reason, the material I am about to show you was designated as classified, not revealed to the public until now. It can get confusing. We're going to go slow. We're going to explain it in detail. We begin with a truly stunning email. It's from July 2016. That was the month no reasonable prosecutor would prosecute, James Comey said, you might recall. Anyway, July 2016, according to the documents declassified by Senator Chuck Grassley, a top Soros-backed Clinton ally, his name, Leonard Bernardo, wrote the following, quote, HRC, that'd be Hillary Rodham Clinton, approved Julia's idea about Trump and Russian hackers hampering U.S. elections. That should distract people from her own missing email, especially if the affair goes to the Olympic level. Let me read that again. HRC, Hillary Rodham Clinton, approved the idea about Trump and Russian hackers. Great idea, right? Emails continue. In the absence of direct evidence, CrowdStrike and ThreatConnect, which are DNC-linked tech firms, will supply the media, and they're all too willing to take it. This was on July 27, 2016, just 4 days before the FBI decided to open its investigation into so-called Trump and Russia. Operation Crossfire Hurricane, it later became known. Now, is this an insane coincidence? Well, we report, you decide. And it gets so much worse. A prior email on July 25th, 2016, from that same Clinton ally stated the following, quote, Julie says it will be a long-term affair to demonize Putin and Trump. Now it is good for a post-convention bounce. Later, the FBI will put more oil into that fire. And then to make matters even worse, according to reports, the Julie, who we just mentioned, was a longtime national security advisor who served under Obama. Now, the purported author of that email denies all wrongdoing, but are you connecting the dots? Based on these emails, declassified today, Hillary Rodham Clinton approved the Russia hoax against Donald Trump as a political smear and a campaign. That was seemingly coordinated between the Clinton campaign, the White House, and that would be Obama's White House, and Comey's FBI and Obama's CIA. That would be under John Brennan. Now, the now declassified annex described it this way, quote, it was a two-pronged Democratic Party opposition that is focused on discrediting Trump. It continues, quote, among other things, the Clinton staff, with support from special services, is preparing scandalous revelations of business relations between Trump and the Russian mafia, which never happened. As the New York Post points out, the special services cited in one of the memos referred to intelligence activities of Obama's CIA and FBI. On this program, we refer to that as the deep state, which may have included the work of the Trump dossier author Christopher Steele. Remember, Hillary Clinton bought and paid for dirty Russian disinformation dossier. He's at the bottom of that. It's been totally debunked and full of lies. According to Tulsi Gabbard, her declassification last week, this was before then President Obama ordered John Brennan to come up with the second intelligence assessment in the winter of 2016 because they didn't like the original assessment that was completed by senior career CIA officials, rank and file. And they did not find any evidence at all whatsoever that Donald Trump was colluding with Russia. This takes us into December, well past the election, when they put out their report. But that wasn't good enough. That didn't fit the lying narrative. Brennan was so desperate to get this new report that he published it using material from Hillary's dirty Russian disinformation dossier. Now, despite serious objections from career agents in the CIA, according to all this declassified information, they were all against it. In other words, based on all the new evidence from the Durham Annex and last week's declassifications from Gabbard, the Obama White House used the full force of the FBI and the CIA and, frankly, the White House to conspire with the Clinton campaign, utilizing actual Russian disinformation that they bought, they paid for, was bought by the Clinton campaign, first to stop Trump from winning the election. They thought she'd win. And then when she lost, to smear President Trump, delegitimize the election results, and cast a shadow over Trump's presidency, which, by the way, it did. We covered this story for 3 long years, almost night in and night out. As Senator Chuck Grassley put it, quote, intelligence reports showing the Clinton campaign may have been ginning up the fake Trump-Russia narrative for Clinton's political gain, which was ultimately done through the Steele dossier and other means, and yet the corrupt media mob happily pushed this hoax for years. They celebrated it.
Look, I think that the president does not want to come to terms with the fact that the Russians hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election to tilt it to Mr. Trump. The question is, did Mr. Trump cooperate?
Unlike President Trump, he has no doubt the Russians hacked the election.
Mr. Trump is seeing more and more of the walls closing in on him, which is why he is becoming increasingly desperate.
The presidency is effectively a Russian op, right? You know, partisan warfare between Republicans and Democrats. This is international warfare against our country.
This is evidence of willingness to commit collusion.
Definitively, Russia hacked the election, and Russia is doing it again now.
This is why I said after Election Day, the legacy state-run media mob is officially dead. Peddling lies and conspiracy theories takes away any trust that you might have with the American people. This is a level of corruption and bias I've never seen before. Everyone involved must now be held accountable so it never happens again. Now, tonight, in a lengthy statement, the Soros-backed Clinton ally in those newly released emails that were declassified today by Senator Chuck Grassley, well, their organization denied, quote, all wrongdoing. We've also reached out to Obama, Clinton, Brennan, Clapper, Obama advisor, the one that was mentioned in the annex. We have yet to hear back from anybody. They are welcome on this program if they want to try to explain this.
Want even more Fox News on YouTube? Become a Fox News Patriot.
Patriot today. Why become a Fox News Patriot today when you can just watch it for free on YouTube? I mean, really. Anyway, so there you go. You heard it for yourself. They all bought, well, I don't even know if you could say bought into the scam. I think they were told to buy into the scam. From what I've been able to read and gather and scrounge around and find, everybody knew. They all knew that this was fake. Like, people that should have known must have known that this was fake. And like, there are sections in here that specifically name President Obama, specifically name Hillary Clinton. Like this one from Leonard, I mean, this is the one that everyone's reading because it's like the best, absolutely. Hi, this is from Leonard Bernardo on the 27th of July 2016. So Trump's running. HRC approved Julia's ID, HRC being Hillary Rodham Clinton, HRC approved Julia's idea about Trump and Russian hackers hampering US elections. That should distract people from her own missing emails, especially if the affair goes to the Olympic level. So what they mean by that is if Hillary's emails go to an Olympic level, if the Russia hoax goes to an Olympic level, then Hillary's emails will just be Hillary's what? The point is making the Russian play a US domestic. Hang on. The point is making the Russian play a US domestic issue. Say something critical. Say something critical. Say something. Say something like a critical infrastructure threat for the election to feel menace. Menace. I mean, the word menace in itself. Say to feel menace, since both POTUS and the POTUS. So POTUS being Obama, because this is 2016, Trump's not president yet. POTUS, President of the United States, Obama, and Vice President of the United States, Joe Biden, have acknowledged the fact IC would speed up searching for evidence that is regrettably still unavailable. This is 3-4 months before the election. They're still trying to find some facts to verify this hoax from this rumor. So they're off looking for the PP tape. That's what they're doing. IC, intelligence community. Both POTUS and VPOTUS have acknowledged the fact IC would speed up searching for evidence that is regrettably still unavailable. However, there seems to be signs GRU penetration, Cyrillic 2.0 VPN Elite VPN Felix Edmundovich Felix Edmundovich. I don't know what Cyrillic 2.0 VPN Elite VPN means, but that's what's there. They appear hardly skilled, incompetent, bumbling idiots, as somebody called them. In absence of direct evidence, CrowdStrike and Threat Connect will supply the media, and GRU will hopefully carry on to give more facts. So what they're saying is they're hoping for some spy, whistleblower, possible defector, someone somewhere over in the GRB in Russia will come to them with something to back up these claims. This is your FBI. This is the group that you entrust to protect you on your home soil from all threats, foreign and domestic. How much more domestic does the White House get? Can you tell me that? How much more domestic a threat is POTUS and VPOTUS giving Intel the opportunity to smear an incoming candidate and future president? Because by that stage, they fucking knew Hillary had no goddamn hope in winning. And that is why they allowed this to continue. Because they knew that he was going to win. they knew, they just knew he was going to win. And had they not come up with this bullshit, had they not spent millions upon millions of dollars and man hours doing this, making this up, like even now there's still chunks of it redacted, like chunks. You know, this isn't like total transparency. As set out in the unclassified report, the leadership of the FBI directed that Page not be interviewed at that time, that he, Page, sent a letter to Director Comey volunteering to be interviewed. And in fact, no interview of Page was approved by Director Comey until March of 2017. What had changed by then? Page then voluntarily had not 1 but 5 interviews. Because, like, you know, we got to keep packing the pillowcase of lies. The relevant FBI FD 302 interview reports do not indicate that Page was ever asked about the above referenced email, which is redacted, sent to the campaign in July of 2016. Or maybe they're talking about this one. They might be talking about that Bernardo one. And the FBI's reasoning for not asking is unclear. So this is all, it's all smoke and mirrors. That's what I mean. Like, they leave shit like this lying around in a bag that says burn me, right? But then even within the report, they can't exactly pinpoint anything. Reasoning for not asking is unclear. So what do? Put another way, despite the fact that the email and the FBI's assessment of its import were included in 3 of 4-page Pfizer applications, 2 of which were submitted to the FISC after the FBI had interviewed Page on 5 occasions. It appears Page was never asked about the email during those interviews. So apparently this redacted bit here has got to do something to do with Carter Page's July 2016 Moscow trip and purported meetings with Igor Sechin and Igor Devekian. Anyway, so yeah, there's a lot there. I might just go through it at some stage and we can go over it again, because I don't think this is going anywhere for a while. Of course, you know, they've got rumours abound that they're going to call Obama into Congress and stuff like that. I hope they do. I mean, I really hope they do, because it's not even about we deserve to know. It's more about these people need to be exposed so that anyone coming in doesn't think that they can just do this again. Because, like, you'll self-destruct if you keep doing stuff like this within your intelligence agencies. They're corrupting the country from the inside. They are the domestic threat. They are the domestic threat. I don't know what other way to put it. Anyway, let's get on to something lighter. Sarah Sweeney. That was funny. I think that's funny. Sarah Sweeney's jeans. Makes her a racist because she said jeans. And you know that. It makes her, what did they say? She was a eugenist. She was involved in eugenics because she said the word jeans. I just don't understand like, seriously, I don't understand how badly people have lost their minds over the most mundane, like, problems. Like, I don't have TikTok, so I can't get on there, and I see all these things, they're all on TikTok. And I think to myself, how, like, what the hell? Why do people think that, oh, where is it now? I bet you they've probably taken it off the website because it's like on YouTube. It's probably like too horrifying for people to. Okay. Sydney Sweeney, Good Genes Ad Tantrum is all about the left's rage at America's rejection. This is the New York Post. Shall we listen to this one? And it's got a couple of the different commercials in there. God, my hair keeps falling out. Oh, go away. Okay. Let's,
You don't need a second.
Whoa, that's loud. Just going to skip this commercial. And this is, she must be a New York Post reporter, I guess. This is 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Let's have a listen to, I think she may have some of the TikTok reactions. Some girls, like, to their credit, are saying, get over yourselves, bitches. Like, what's wrong with you? Beyonce did it. I mean, when Brooke Shields did it when she was like 14 years old, there was a lot of backlash. But it was because of her age, not because of what she was saying. She wasn't called a racist or a eugenicist, that's for sure. And it was a great commercial. Like, I remember that. I couldn't afford Calvin Klein's, but I still love the commercial. It was, what? God, it'd have to be early 80s. Those were the days.
Blue jeans caused Last week, the latest ad for American Eagle blue jeans caused extreme distress among the very online crowd. It's a pretty basic ad. Current Hollywood it girl Sydney Sweeney poses provocatively next to a classic Mustang, wearing classic jeans and a classic white shirt. The narrator tells us Sydney Sweeney has great jeans. The outrage seems twofold. First, the usual suspects are screaming accusations of racism at the idea of a white, blonde, blue-haired starlet declaring the superiority of her jeans. Shades of eugenics, according to the congregants of the Church of the Perpetually Offended. To a lesser extent, but still very obvious to those of us who have been observing the culture wars for the last 30 years, the left seems upset at the very notion of an attractive young woman being used to sell clothing. American Eagle's deliberate bucking of the body-positive trend thrust upon us by the human resources cult utterly infuriates certain unstable members of our eclectic society. Some people blame all their failures in life on the fact that someone else was smarter, cuter, or richer. It's envy, of course, and it undergirds every ridiculous complaint about the new American Eagle campaign. But I believe the overheated uproar over Sweeney's ad is more than just racism or envy. It's about Donald Trump, or more precisely, about the sharp right turn the American people took last November. We are witnessing the desperate tantrums of a progressive left that is struggling to accept the verdict of the electorate. The leftists must face a sudden reality. They were never the majority at all, and they are not stronger than the American spirit. Their problem with Sweeney is the same problem now shared by the entire Democrat complex. They are angry they were wrong. They are angry the American people made them wrong. And that means everything average Americans love is wrong. We don't want to buy our jeans from people who look like us. We want to buy our jeans from people who look like our fantasy of us. American men like looking at hot, busty women, and American women like looking hot in the eyes of American men. That is a perfectly typical attitude, and one that has been used with great success since the dawn of corporate advertising. Of course, the left had to frame their rage in terms of racism and Nazis. But what really offends them is the normal desire of normal Americans for normal things. Blue jeans, beautiful women, fast cars. We keep it simple in this part of the world, and the progressive left does not like simple, as evidenced by their 89 and counting genders. The Sydney Sweeney ad campaign perfectly embodies how Trump's golden age is permeating every aspect of American society. And it's got the progressive left bereft of ideas, strategies, and interesting spokespersons seething. Long live blue jeans and beauty. America is back.
America is back, baby, she says. Like, I agree. I have to say, 100, 1,000, 1 million, 1 gajillion% agree with her. Men like looking at good-looking women. Women like looking good in front of their man or in front of men if they're, like, on the prowl, on the hunt, whatever it is they call it these days. And that's that, girls. It's really, really as simple as that. It doesn't matter what colour your skin is, your eyes, your hair. It doesn't. They don't care. The girls that get dressed up to look hot for their man don't care what their skin colour is, right? They're not thinking about their skin colour. They've been living in their skin colour all their life. Do you get it? Do you understand? Have you never seen a biracial couple? What the fuck is wrong with these people? Why can't they tell the difference between advertising and real life? I'm perplexed by it all. Like, I mean, I'm sure there are days that Sarah Sweeney doesn't brush her teeth, her hair, or shave her bloody legs, and she gets around in a pair of Ugg boots and tracksuit pants. Would they be happier if they saw her like that? Would that make them feel better about themselves? Because that's all this is about. It's not about trans or racist or genes or eugenicists. I mean, you guys are going on, you're like hearkening back to eugenics. Like, you fucking rainbow flag. You Planned Parenthood. Who do you think created Planned Parenthood? Margaret Sanger. What was Margaret Sanger? A goddamn eugenicist. She wanted to obliterate the whole black population. She thought they were gollywogs. She thought they were lower standards. They produced lower standard humans. That's your Planned Parenthood fucking hero. Right? So don't come at us with fucking eugenics and racism and all of the crap that you want to throw at us because a girl's butt looks good in her jeans and you're just pissed off that your butt will probably never look as good in those jeans. I think my butt looks all right tonight in these jeans. Not too bad. Speaking of butts, you know. And that's it. That is totally it. So get over yourselves. Go out and buy yourselves a pair of American Eagle jeans and go out and look hot like Sarah Sweeney. What's your problem? She's not telling you that you can't wear them because you're a tranny. She's not telling you that you can't wear them because you're black. She's not. Why do you think she is? She probably got paid couple of $1 million to put on a pair of jeans and look hot. Maybe that's why you're jealous, because that makes me slightly jealous. I wouldn't mind if somebody paid me a couple of million to put some jeans on my ass and like roll around on the floor for a little while and pretend that I'm fixing a bloody gasket in a Camaro and even pretend that it was me doing the donuts in there, because I'm sure she had a stunt double. It's in the contract. She cannot hurt herself. She might have injured and broke a nail or something, spinning the wheel. So really, this is such a big nothing burger. I don't even know why I'm talking about it, but it's just ridiculous. Get over yourselves. Find some other poor schmuck to pick on. I'm sure it's not hard. I mean, when all else fails, you always go to Trump anyway. So just, I'm sure there's something else. I'm sure there is. But, you know, it's just... girls like hot guys and guys like hot girls. Simple as that. No ands, ifs, buts, colour, race, gender, or anything to do with it. Hot people. That's it. That's all I've got to say. But speaking of hot people, it sort of brings me around to my next story, which is like the horrific instance that happened in New York the other day with the crazy dude that went in with the long gun and obviously had suicidal ideations. He knew he wasn't getting out of there. And he took his own life on the 33rd floor, I think, after realising that he wasn't getting out of. This is my theory. Everybody's got theories on it. My theory is he went in, as we heard, he shot the security guard and the off-duty police officer who was working there in uniform. Also, he wasn't technically on duty on the force, but he was working as a side gig in uniform. And I believe one of the security guards was unable to get to the elevator bank to lock the doors, which is probably how we managed to go up, but you need a swipe card to go in. So here's my theory. They said he went into the wrong elevator. He got into the wrong elevator because he pushed the button, the doors opened. He got in the elevator, nothing worked, the doors closed, and it started going up to the 33rd floor. My thoughts are somebody on the 33rd floor called for the elevator, because you don't need the elevator, you don't need the swipe card to activate the elevator to come up once you're on your floor. You only need it to get back up to your floor once you're down, right? And so if he's gone in, tried to push a button, realised there was no 5th floor. I mean, if he'd done his research, he would have known that the NRL section of the building was, I think they said the 5th and 6th, or the 4th and 5th floors or something. So he's looking for the 5th floor and there is no 5th floor. Door closes, he's stuck in there. He can't do anything. He's got no activation. He can't stop it. He can't stop on another level. It's all card activated. So he goes up, I guess, the door opens. Apparently the lady who was shot was coming back from the bathroom, but there was another lady that ran when she saw him come out of the elevator. I think she was probably calling the elevator up to go downstairs for whatever reason, or go down to another floor, or for whatever reason she'd called it up. He comes up, he gets up, he shoots the woman. He realises he's not going to get back down to the ground floor to get into the other elevator and go to the right place. So he took his own life on the 33rd floor after taking the life of some randomly innocent person from the real estate agency that was on that floor. Horrible, as I said, absolutely horrible that you could just go to work and this monster just can walk in off the street. And I'm not talking about him having the ability to have the gun. There are certainly points across from Nevada to frickin' New York. There's a lot of borders to cross, okay? Just saying. So he never got checked over those borders, or he took a way that he could get through those borders. How did he get into New York? We know that they've got frickin' no easy gun laws. Anyway, how did he get in there without being stopped or searched? I know they do just ask you cursory questions like, you know, you're carrying any illegal firearms? No. Oh, so you believe me? It's basically, excuse me, that's basically why they call it a random check, I guess. You know, because they don't check everyone, otherwise you'd never get through customs. You'd never get through the borders. So they had to check everybody's car. But what I really wanted to sort of talk about was Mamdani Zohran. So don't mess with the Zohran, or the Zohran. I think it was Zohran, wasn't it? Like, this guy flew off to Uganda and was getting married on the day this occurred, and I don't think we heard anything from Mr. Mamdani until after they identified the victim, the first victim. And who was the first victim? Officer Islam. Islam, I think, yeah. Islam. What would you immediately think when you hear a man's name like that? The guy's a Muslim, right? I've got nothing against that. Got no problems with Muslims that are normal Muslims, that are just normal and they just do their own thing and they pray their own prayers and they interact with everybody like normal people, right? But no, this poor officer happened to be a Muslim. And the minute that little bit of information was released, that is when Mamdani struck. Not only did he obviously cut his honeymoon short to fly back to the States from Uganda after literally just marrying his wife, his new wife. Did she even come back with him? Or is she not a legal citizen yet? Here's my scenario. Let's just pretend for a minute that this young officer that had just been with that had just been slain for going to work and trying to make some extra bucks to pay for his family. Let's just imagine for a minute that this officer was a 6 foot tall, blonde hair, blue eyed, all-American boy from a cop family with 5 generations or 10 generations of police behind him. Maybe 5. Okay. Do you honestly think, does anybody out there, and there's only one person anyway, so it's probably me, does anybody out there believe for one single second that if this officer or all of the officers were white, American-born citizens, or I'm even going to go as far as black American-born citizens, Do you think for one single second that the thin blue line would have anything to do with this man, let alone allow him into their house? Right? Just think about it. And I'm not trying to be racist here. I'm not. I'm saying that Mandami has taken this tragic event and turned it into a political bonanza. He was at the wife's house. And then he had the absolutely unmitigated gall to stand up and try to tell people that he did not want to defund the police, that he loves the police, that sadly now his life has become under threat because of all the good he's trying to do for New York, that he now needs 24-hour protection from those same police that he demonized and villainized and swore to dismantle and defund so he could send social workers to a shootout. And all of a sudden, no. I want to free up the police officers to do the real work that they signed up to do. Go out and get killed. That's the real work they signed up to do. They want to go out every day and face down these demons with long guns. That's what they crave. What a fucking psycho. Who fucking craves that? What a psycho. End of New York. It will literally be a Kurt Russell movie if you guys are stupid enough to elect Zoran Mandami, I can never say it properly, Mandami. If you elect him, you might as well get your go bag ready. If Republicans don't come out in force, even to fucking vote for another Democrat, like even vote for Eric Adams over, if you have to, I would really like to see poor Curtis Lewa win, because I really think that he's a Rudy Giuliani for New York. He's the heartbeat. He's been around there since he was a kid. He kept the subways safe. He started them. He started the Guardian Angels. He loves that city. Imagine his heartbreak every time he hears one of these fucking stories. If the officer that was killed was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed American boy, Zoran Mandami would still be honeymooning in Paris or somewhere exotic like that. Mark my words. Mark my words. Not schmoozing up to the family of the dead police officer and practically walking in line with the family at the funeral. It's sick. It's sick, I tell you. He's sick. He wants to defund the police, the very people that he has protecting. Do you think he's going to defund his police? Do you think his protection detail is going to go away? Ever? No. No, because here's the thing. The angry people are only going to get angrier, and the mobs are only going to get bigger, because he will destroy your city. He will destroy your state. That's all there is. That's all, all I can say is I know to the bones of my existence that had this officer not been a Muslim, Zoran Mandami would not be home. He would be posting pictures from his yacht in the Caribbean somewhere. God, I'm telling you, I'm telling you. Oh, God. Anyway, so that's about, I mean, there was that awful fight in Cincinnati where that poor woman got, like, king hit by the guy and just, like, knocked her. Like, it's so bad. I just don't understand how you keep going at it. I really just don't understand how you keep going at it. This man, like, let me just try and find one of his interviews because the press conference. Okay. Okay, so there's, this is 4 weeks ago. Okay, so there is this first clip here is 2 minutes and 3 seconds. I haven't seen it, so I don't even know what it says. It's from the alert desk. Never heard of him. But let's play it because the heading is Zoran Mandani press conference abruptly ends when aide pulling him away during reporters' questions. What was the question? Oh, God. Okay, let's watch together.
An endorsement event for Zoran Mamdani, the Democratic nominee for New York City mayor,
AI.
came to an abrupt end Monday when he was pulled off stage by a campaign aide. After accepting the American Federation of Musicians Local 802's endorsement,
This is not real.
Mamdani answered a few questions about former Governor Andrew Cuomo deciding to stay in the race as an independent candidate and his upcoming meeting with House Minority Leader Representative Hakeem Jeffries, DNY. About 20 minutes into the event, before Mamdani could continue answering reporters' questions, his campaign staffers stepped in to say, "I think we're done here. We're going to go. Come on, we're wrapping up, folks. Sorry, folks. We're wrapping up." But Mamdani stood by the podium, attempting to hear the reporters' questions over the chorus of campaign aides' voices until the band on...
Okay, so yeah, it's not exactly what I thought it was. Where is the press conference that he did yesterday? Oh, here we go. Oh, it can't be an hour and 21 minutes. Uh,
2017. Mr. Etienne was a father, a loving partner to Rochelle, a brother, and a son. And he was a security officer working in the lobby of 345 Park Avenue, doing his job, as he always did, engaging tenants, talking about their lives and their families, as so many security officers do in this city every single day. But I will also say that security officers in this city know that they put their life on the line when they put on their uniforms. They're there to...
Okay, let's just jump to this.
Second was to help them.
So this is just before Mandani gets introduced.
Go up the ranks. And the third is to meet between the Bangladeshi and American community and the police department. But since then, the Bangladeshi community has grown in the NYPD. More families have encouraged their sons and daughters to join. And they have felt pride watching their children to serve New York City as a police officer. But today, that pride is somewhat overwhelmed by pain. This brutal loss has shaken us to the core. It is just not a tragedy for the police officers, Islam's wife, his children, and his family, but it is a tragedy for all of us, for all fellow officers, for all our community. We'll never forget Officer Islam's bravery, his service, and his sacrifice. His memory will live on in our hearts and in our community and NYPD. May Allah grant him highest place in Jannah, and will carry forward his legacy, his honor, and with him
coming to meet with us. And so first I would just say, Zoran, thank you again for coming to meet with us, meet with Mr. Etienne's family today, and with that I will turn it over to you.
I want to thank Manny and 32BJ for having us here today and for allowing me the opportunity to convey my heartfelt condolences to Alan's family, who we heard from just earlier. I want to thank retired Lieutenant Shamsul Haq, who co-founded the Bangladeshi American Police Association, of which Officer Islam was a member. I landed back in New York City this morning and went directly to the home of Officer Islam, where I met with members of his family, young and old, who are heartbroken over the loss
of their
son, of their brother, their father, their husband, their friend. Heartbroken in a way that words cannot fully describe. And as we spent close to an hour together, there were moments that stayed with me. Moments like when Officer Islam's sisters asked me, who will we call Bhaiya now? Moments like when his brother-in-law told me of how it was Officer Islam that brought him to this country, that took him to get his first learner's permit, that got him his first job working at a restaurant in Union Square, where they would speak together every single day. And when he told me that for him, Officer Islam was an open door, and now that door would be forever closed. And I know that in the way in which that home is shattered, the way in which it is quieter and emptier than ever before, there are other homes across this city.
The fact that he acts like he's known this family all their lives, like, it disgusts me. It makes me sick to my stomach. He jumped on a plane to further his political ambitions, and that's it. He doesn't give a shit. Once all of the smoke, once all of the dust has died down from all of this, he will never speak to them again.
I want to talk about those that we lost. We've heard from Alan's family of a man who was the father of 2 children. We've read of how his smile lit up every room, how it was as warm as it was infectious, and of a man who did a job that is so often overlooked, and yet it is that first greeting that so many feel when they come home. And so it was him that was also in that first line of fire just a few days ago. We've heard of Officer Islam, a police officer who leaves behind 2 young children, a pregnant wife due to give birth just in the next month, 2 aging parents, one of whom is struggling in his own health. And we know also of Wesley LePatner, who was a New Yorker that shone brightly across this city, who served on the boards of the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the UJA Federation, the Heschel School.
What, did you get that off his wiki page?
University Library Council, who is remembered by friends and by colleagues for the incredible achievements she leaves behind, and for the 2 children and husband that mourn her today, as do all New Yorkers. And also of Julia Hyman, a 27-year-old New Yorker who grew up here, who attended Riverdale High School, captained 3 different teams in her senior year, attended Cornell University, for which she just went to a 5-year reunion, and was remembered by colleagues at her workplace today as a superstar. A life cut short by a senseless act of violence. And as New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and Americans across the country mourn this mass shooting, we are reminded that no matter how strong our gun laws are in this state, we are only as safe as the weakest laws in this nation. And so in this moment, the onus is on all of us to follow the words of Alain's brother.
They want your
and
guns,
to put forward
guys.
a vision
Don't let
of
them.
stronger gun laws. And I echo the call from Governor Hochul for a nationwide ban on assault rifles. As it is horrifying to each and every one of us in this room and beyond that a man with such documented mental health struggles was able to purchase a weapon, leave alone a weapon of such devastating capability. And we know that the consequences of national inaction, though we feel them this week in Midtown, we know that they join a list of so many other places across this country. Be they Uvalde, be they El Paso, be they Sandy Hook, be they Charleston. As mayor, I will lead calls to ensure that we pass the legislation necessary beyond New York, such that every New Yorker can rest assured that we need not prepare for the next iteration of this horrific mass shooting. And we know that mass shootings are sadly all too familiar for New Yorkers themselves, as we experience them whether on our street corners or even on public transit. And though we have made strides towards making this city one that is free of that gun violence, we know that there is so much work to be done. And in this moment of mourning and of grief, I want to thank law enforcement for their response to the horrific shooting on Monday and their work in keeping New Yorkers safe. I ask that in this moment, we come together as New Yorkers and we remember the 4 of our neighbors that were killed. We honor their memories and we live up to the way in which they led their lives. Thank you.
I'm wondering, I know you just talked about the fact that you wanted to honor the people who responded yesterday, Monday. And the reason I'm asking this question is I wonder if there's views about the NYPD have changed over time, especially in light of this shooting.
It's pretty difficult to hear the questions, unfortunately, sorry.
Criticized your past statements about the SRG, the strategic response group, which did respond because they claim that you said it should be disbanded. Do you still believe that? And do you want to send any kind of a message of feeling to the police department about who's going to now have the right?
Over the course of this race, I've been very clear about my view of public safety and the critical role that police have in creating that. Public safety that officers are tasked with delivering while we ask them to respond to nearly every failure of the social safety net. And the vision that we've put forward in this campaign, despite what others may say, is not to defund the police. It is, in fact, to allow those officers to respond to the serious crimes that many of them signed up to address, and to do so by ensuring that we ask them to focus on those crimes, and we ask mental health professionals to respond to calls of mental health crises. And as it pertains to the strategic response group,
where are you going to get the money from,
when it was first formed, there was an intention for its use to be more akin to the manner in which it was deployed earlier this week. What we have found, however, is the city has come to rely upon the strategic response group as its primary means of response to acts of protests across the city when New Yorkers exercise their First Amendment rights. And that decision in asking the members of that unit to respond to protests, as opposed to what was the stated reason, is a decision that has led to the violation of a number of New Yorkers' civil rights. And it's a decision that has been the basis of my critique of the use of the group towards that end. And what I would also say in this moment is that it is beyond me that politicians are looking to use these days to score such cynical political points.
Oh
on
my
the very day
God.
that I held the father of Officer Islam in my arms, as he could not utter a single word, and as I felt him sobbing at the memory of his 36-year-old son, who will never come
This
home.
guy is a sociopath,
To
people.
visit that family,
He's a
to meet those
bona
children,
fide,
to understand what this
paper-carrying,
man meant to so
card-carrying
many,
sociopath.
and to hear from his brother-in-law
Be
that
fucking
today was
warned.
the day
People have been
they
trying to
timed
warn you,
their
and if
vacation
you
together
fall into the trap,
so that they could visit a water park in New Jersey.
you only got yourselves to blame.
And that the brother-in-law's children knew they were supposed to go, Officer Islam's children knew they were supposed to go, and yet they were at home mourning a father who will never return. This is a time to honor those memories. This is a time to leave this city and coming together, not a moment to try and score the very points that turn so many New Yorkers away from politics.
I'm sorry that you're coming back to this. I was actually just with former governor, and he was asked specifically, about the statement I believe
Okay,
you already
he's-
made a day or two ago.
I don't know, does it get
Chief
pulled off? I
political
haven't
points
seen,
that
I
you
didn't
said
actually
cannot
watch
be
the whole
stored
interview,
in a
so
moment like this. And he said effectively, if he doesn't like
It's something
it,
like
perhaps
3
he should
o'clock in the
retract
morning.
some of the words he has said previously, talking about police being racist or anti-LGBTQ, or that they should be defunded or dismantled. So this is a little bit of what Marcia asked, but as you've grown and reflected, and I feel, in fairness to you, you've been good about talking about growing and reflecting and always having conversations. Do you wish you hadn't said some of those things a few years back?
My statements in 2020 were ones made amidst a frustration that many New Yorkers held at the murder of George Floyd and the inability.
Okay, this bit I do remember. The murder of George Floyd. Correct me if I'm wrong, people, but wasn't George Floyd's cause of death not caused by asphyxiation? He died from a heart attack or something like that. He didn't die from asphyxiation. So George Floyd's murder, even though there is a man sitting in prison, well, 3 men, I think, actually, sitting in prison for this murder that destroyed Minneapolis, right? It's a non-existent crime. So this is what I'm saying, political points. At the very beginning, I cut my holiday short. Oh, woe is me. I had to cut my holiday short to come and schmooze up to the Muslims that have just lost their father, because they're the only people in the entire world that would let me come into their house after the things I've said about the police. Give me a fucking break. Sociopath.
To deliver on what Eric Adams, of all people, described.
And another thing, he acts like 2020 was 100 years ago. This is not even 6 years ago, right? 5 years ago. Not even 5 years ago, because we're only halfway through 2025. He acts like it was like 20 years ago. He says 2020 like it was like 20 years ago. Oh, I was just a dumb kid. I didn't know what I was saying. I got in trouble with the cops, so I hated them. I would say, yep, okay, well, you've grown, you've matured. But this was like last week, man. What do you think? How stupid do you think we are? You stand here. You're gonna stand here and you're gonna bloviate about how bad you feel and how in depth you know these people. Like I said, where did you get the information on the other guy? From his wiki page? Because it sounded pretty straightforward to me. He was this, he was that, and he did those things on the board. Nothing about his family, any mother, father, wife, grieving siblings or anything like that. Was there? No, because he didn't go to their place. He went to the Muslim's house. That's where he went. He didn't go to the family's house of the woman that was killed on the 33rd floor? Did he? No. Because people like him have forced good officers to resign, leaving people like you vulnerable to people like that guy that walked into that building on Park Avenue and killed the person that he's now exploiting. That's what's happening here.
As the right for all of us to be able to enjoy safety and justice, that we need not choose between the two. I know that Governor Cuomo is far more comfortable in the past, whether it be his own or whether it be in attacking me for tweets made before I was even an assembly member. What I have said time and time again is the campaign that I am leading, the campaign that I am asking New Yorkers to consider, is one that has been clear on its public safety approach. It's one that speaks about a desire to work with police officers. And what has been quite frustrating to me has been the inability of so many, including the former governor, to reckon with the crisis we face in this moment, where 200 officers are leaving the department every month. A leading cause of this is forced overtime. And all they have to offer, they being these politicians of the past, are the same ideas they put forward years ago. What I am speaking of is a vision that will not only address public safety, but also keep officers in this very police department, will ensure that they can actually respond to the crimes that are being committed in this city. Because as we've seen in the first quarter of this year, we were only able to resolve 35% of all of those crimes that were reported. And part of that is a reflection of asking officers to do nearly every single thing we can think of. And so I'm proud of the public safety platform we've put together. And I would say that for the former governor to have spent an entire day speaking almost exclusively about me and barely about the New Yorkers who have been killed is indicative of the very politics New Yorkers want.
This guy wants. Everybody's
We want
speaking
to
about
honor
him.
the New Yorkers who
What
have
we're
been taken
doing.
from us far too soon. We want to know their stories. They are not merely statistics. We want to know of their smiles, their hopes, their dreams. And yet here we have a former governor calling every reporter he can find to speak about tweets. What kind of leadership is that?
Okay, let's just sort of skip to the end here. And I don't think contrary to that AI reporter, I don't think he gets dragged off or abruptly ends the press conference in any way, shape, or form. That would have been at the point there when he was talking about Cuomo. So, but like, who the fuck is he to say, oh, and he spent the whole day calling reporters to tell them how bad I am? Like, as I said, he wants people talking about him all day. He wants the name on the tongue all day, because what happens when you get to the election, can't remember any of the other guys' names. That Mandami sounds good, though. He's going to give us free shit. Free bus, free this, free that, free groceries, free. Nothing's free. And as I said before, he's talking about all these social... Now he's saying, he's not going to defund the police, because his idea before was he's going to take that money and use it to pay for the social workers. That's what he was going to do. His words, he was on a podcast not long ago, said that exact thing, right? Defund the police and use that money to fund the psychologists to go deal with the crazies. Right? What if the crazies have got a gun? Then we'll call the cops. Well, you already have a dead psychologist on your hands. By the time, who's going to call the cops? Not the gunman. He's not going to call the cops and say, hey, I just killed one of these guys, send another one out, will you? I mean, come on, people, get into the real world, shall we? This guy is a lunatic. Cuckoo. Like, serious problems. He is on a power struggle. He's on a power climb. He wants his quick. He's seen his sister do it, Ilhan Omar. Look how easy it was for her. All she had to do was marry her brother and screw around with him a couple of times, and she's in. Come on. Texas. There's all that reporting going on, what's going on in Texas. Please, if that's what you want, vote for this guy by all means. I'm never going to be living in New York. I can't afford it. And for that matter, neither will anybody else be able to afford it, because New York will become a slum, and it'll be all the businesses will leave. Who wants to work there? Who wants to work in a place where it's just one big sanctuary for defects and criminals? Like, no social worker's going to want to work there, especially with no police. No social worker in their right mind's going to want to work there. Or his right mind. Or their right mind. So, there's that little tidbit as to, you know, how's he going to fund it? Because how's he going to fund it? If now his perspective is, I don't want to defund the police. I just want them to go out and do the risky shit where people have got guns and want to, like, suicide themselves and others while they're at it. Let's send them to do all the dangerous shit and let the psychologists walk the beat. Like, seriously? And as I said before, he could defund every goddamn law enforcement agency in the fucking state. He will never lose his fucking guns, his hired guns. They will be around him. It'll be like Africa. It'll be like Uganda. He's like, bloody hell, what's his freaking name? Idi Amin. We know how that worked out. Bodies were slaughtered all over the place. Like, he committed his own genocide, Idi Amin. He would have heard about it. He would have heard all the stories. Probably idolises Idi Amin. Secretly, I reckon that Zoran Mandami idolised Idi Amin. And he wants to be Idi Amin in America. American Idi. That's Zoran. Okay. Now let's get on to some fun stuff. Epstein. What the fuck happened with Epstein? Like, seriously, what the fuck happened? Like, the courts have come back and they said they're not releasing the grand jury transcripts. But there was this grand jury transcript, I believe. This is the indictment. Oh no, so this is the indictment of Jeffrey Epstein, which was done in, what the freaking hell is the date? I can't find the date on here anyway. I'm sure it's there somewhere. So this is count 1, sex trafficking conspiracy. There it is. Conspiracy. Who is he conspiring with? First question. Straight off the bat. Who the fuck was he conspiring with, people? This is what we want to know. We don't want to see child porn. This has been said across every level of media, and even the Democrats are saying, we don't want to see child porn, because we don't. But, please, give me a fucking break. Have we all not watched a television show or a movie where it was a politically based movie about, I don't know, a president or maybe a president's son, and one of those people happened to be being blackmailed? Why? How do they know they're being blackmailed? Because they get sent some salacious photos of them romping around in a bed with a blurred woman, naked woman. Her face is blurred, but their face is clear as day. Digital A1. We've all seen those photos. We've seen what they look like. We know that they can be discreetly edited to not show any like recognizable marks or facial features or anything like that. Like, I mean, for fuck's sake, I'm talking to people all over the world from my house in Australia. They can't edit a photo or a still shot of what they found on the hard drives. Oh, but hang on. No, that's the next news. There were no hard drives. That's the news. Those hard drives that we all saw on those videos, no, not real. They were somebody else's video. It was someone else's house. It was someone else's evidence. That's right. It must have been, had to have been, because guess what? No hard drives. They don't exist. No client list. We fucking know there's no client list. What do you think? He's got a bloody paper, like a filing cabinet full of like manila files that say Bill Clinton's blackmail file. Put him on the list. Jilly. Bill Clinton. He can go at the top. Next one. Andrew, Prince of Wales. Oh, yeah. Here's his file. It's a little thicker. Oh, no, maybe. It's about the same as Bill's. Put him on the list, Jelly. We know there's no freaking list. You don't need a list. A man like Epstein does not need a list. He doesn't need a list. He just needs the insinuation that there is video or footage or photography of someone in a high-ranking position having sex or doing something that they shouldn't be doing with a child or a woman made up to look like a child. There's another thing. This was on one of my post-it notes, right? Where did I put it? Hang on. Yeah. Where did I bloody put it? Anyway, how do we know that the whole thing, right? How do we know that the whole thing, or not the whole thing, but like some of them, because some girls admitted to having this done to them at 14 years old. So, what if the people that he got them with first, right, whoever the them is, whoever the list is, right, he got them in a position where he had them believe, there it is, it's in my book, not in my post-it note. How do we know if he didn't make them believe that the girls were underage? And possibly the girls themselves were part of that con. Like, how do we know that that is not a fact or that is not the case? Why haven't, very few girls have come out. Not many, there's not hundreds of girls that have come out against Epstein. This sort of operation doesn't happen with 15 girls. This operation happens to get as many people as we credibly think is on there. He needs high stakes people that, you hear about it all the time. Hookers will do whatever the John tells them to do, pays them to do. If the John pays them to dress up like a 12-year-old girl and shave all the hair on your body, then they'll do it for extra money. But this is not something that is unknown to us as a society, that this happens, honeypotting. We know this. We know it. We know that our intelligence agencies are dirty, dirty, dirty agencies. They don't care who they entrap, who they roll over in the turmoil, as long as they get their mark, as long as they hit their goal, as long as they get their Cuban president, which they never did. That just goes to tell you how good they are at their job. Every time they've interfered in all of these freaking things, world, foreign, bloody politics and leaders and coups, and they always fail. They always fail to pick somebody good to put in for somebody bad that they think has to come out. And I often wonder now, was the one that they took out the good one or the bad one? Because it seems to me like the only reason they thought he was bad was because he wouldn't do what they wanted. It sounds logical to me. Why would America have to remove somebody unless they didn't want to play ball with America? Anyway, my theory, some of these girls could have been involved in blackmail schemes with Epstein. They could be Mossad agents, paid agents. Like, I'm not saying that they paid their agents to be hookers, but I'm saying they have the ability to pay for people that would do this for them if they paid them well enough. Like, they don't even necessarily have to get payment from the person, the person that's being honeypotted, because they're being paid by Israeli intelligence, American intelligence, pick your bag, MI6, whatever. Someone's paying them already. So they're just there to like pretend that it was a chance meeting and wow, we hit it off so well. And it doesn't matter that I'm 12 years old because I know things. Come on, that's pretty like Bold and the Beautiful. I mean, it sounds like an episode of Policewoman, I know, but this shit happens. We've seen it. We see it. You think these bloody crime shows come out of the minds of directors? Those like bland, coffee-minded people? Like, they couldn't even possibly begin to have such fantastical thoughts unless they were sociopaths or psychopaths as well. And that's probably not too far from the truth for some of them. But, like, that's what I'm saying. We've all watched the videos, we've all watched the TV shows, the crime shows where someone's being blackmailed and how they know, they come up to the person, they have lunch, they give them a manila envelope and they pull a box. Oh my God. Right? Now give us $50,000 and we'll give you all the copies. Maybe. Because you will never know if they give you all the copies anyway. If you're being blackmailed, how are you ever going to know if they give you all the copies? I would just say, all right, fuck it, put it out there. I don't care. I'm not paying you anything. I'm just going to go home and tell my husband before you can leak it. So, you know what I mean? There's that. Then there is, of course, the part where Bondi was told, apparently in May, she told the president that, oh, Mr. President, you are in the Epstein files. Your name is mentioned. Well, fuck me. Of course his name's mentioned. We know that. We know that. Was this a power play by Bondi to try and get him to say what he said? His little rant where he told us, I don't need your support anymore. I don't need your support anymore. If you're going to keep going with this whole Epstein thing. Well, you've got our support, but we still want the answer to this Epstein thing. Because, and as many people have iterated, and I've iterated to my friends personally, publicly as often as I can, that whoever the people were who were named in this, or who were involved or believed to be involved in this conspiracy, I believe was done in Florida. No, New York. This is the New York one. Right? The people that were involved with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell in that conspiracy are still around, and they haven't stopped doing what they're doing because that is a need. For people like that to consistently gravitate to wanting young, childlike sexual partners, not only are they depraved, but this is a physical need for them, and they won't stop until they are stopped. The only way to stop them, and I've said this on social media, the only way to stop these people from that need is a 6x4 cell in general population, because they won't have time to think about their fantasies anymore. They'll be protecting their own ass, literally and figuratively, I guess. But that's the only way that those people will be stopped. So the longer this continues, the longer they resist trying to uncover or expose people that were and definitely have been named by the sounds of it in the files that they've still got. They won't stop until they are publicly named and humiliated. That's why the blackmail happens, because the people that are being blackmailed don't want this information to come out for whatever reason, ruin my career, ruin my marriage, wreck my chances of becoming president. They don't want this information coming out, so they pay the freaking blackmail. Right? You've seen it before 1,000 times. It's many midnight movies or lunchtime, midday matinee movies where the wife is just unbeknownst to everything, you know, the bills aren't getting paid all of a sudden, and because they keep coming back for more because they still got one photo left. Just one photo, I promise this is the last one. And it all falls down like a house of cards because it all eventually comes out anyway. Obviously it comes out sooner in a movie because we've only got like 90 minutes, but it all comes out. So throw caution to the wind, get some hard evidence, get some witnesses from the videos and the hard drives that you say don't exist. Go talk to them and see if any of them are willing to come forward, or see if anybody that is currently being victimised is willing to come forward. Because, hey, guess what? If they're still doing it, the statute of limitations makes no fucking difference whatsoever if there is a new claim. And there's that. So anyone that might be on that list that may have gotten some auto pen pardon from Biden should be shitting themselves, because people aren't leaving this alone. They're not. We don't want to leave this alone because we don't want more children getting extorted, molested and destroyed, having their lives destroyed. Like, could you imagine if this was done to you, unto you, rather than you being a voluntary participant? And think what you may about Virginia Giuffre. I really don't think that it was always pleasant, even if she, you know, it's like the Diddy thing. This is one of the other things that I did have. Diddy was, this Epstein case is the Diddy case before Diddy was a case, right? So you've got to, I forgot to change back to camera one. So yeah, this Epstein case was the Diddy case before Diddy got exposed. Was Diddy supposed to be a makeup for letting Epstein get away? Was that supposed to be the case that erased our memories from this? Because if it was, how'd that turn out? I mean, we didn't see Beyonce or Jay-Z or any of these like famous movie stars and singers and rappers and blah, blah, blah that they said. And it turned into a shit show, and now he'll be lucky to get 5 years from what I can gather. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that, yes, Diddy's been doing this for a long time, but Epstein's been doing it for a lot longer. We know that. Like, from the fact that he was involved with Donald Barr for a start. But, like, okay, so when they dropped that 10-hour-long video of Epstein's cell, straight away I thought, well, hang on. That's not his cell. That might be a corridor that leads to his cell, but that's not his cell. How are they always supposed to know what's going on there? There was no other camera in that whole tier that worked? Are you fucking serious now? What, I mean, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, that's a whole nother story. I don't know what to think. And I'm not going to comment on it because I really, really don't know what to think. So disappointed at this point. But, so, if Epstein didn't kill himself, there was no list, there was no video, there was no proof of anything, how come Jeffrey Epstein and now Ghislaine Maxwell, whom we know is talking to both, why were they in prison? And if it was as flimsy a case as I just said, like Epstein's, like Diddy's, why would Epstein have killed himself? Why would he have killed himself? For like, what, maybe 5 years? Probably would have got work release like he did last time. He would have got another sweetheart deal. Why would he have killed himself? Ghislaine Maxwell swears black and blue that he didn't kill himself. So you can take that with a grain of salt for what it's worth. But you can't, like Trump, when Trump had his little meltdown, he can't tell us to stop worrying about this. He can't tell us to shut up about this. Because, I mean, I don't think Trump's using it as leverage per se on whoever might be in these things. Like, I just don't see that happening. Trump's been in so much trouble, as if he's going to risk blackmailing someone who's already being blackmailed. That would be stupid. But, like, in the case of the jailhouse video recording, first of all, it was 1 minute that was missing. Then I seen reports that 3 minutes were missing. I haven't verified or followed on from that, so I don't know if that still stands or not, or whether there's been an explanation for the 3 minutes. Pam Bondi gave us the explanation of the clock resets and the tape resets, and she said something really stupid. Oh, it's like the same tape since 1990. What do you mean it's the same fucking tape since 1990? You're trying to tell me that a VHS recording tape is still fucking being retaped over since 1990, Pam? What do they, like... I don't know what grade they think we finished school at. Do they think we left, like... Do they think that even us lowly people who don't have college degrees or law degrees, they think that we dropped out of school at like grade 1, first grade? Because it's as plain as the fucking nose on your face, Pam, that technology, as bad as the government and these systems are improving it, a videotape itself would not last that long. not constantly being rewound and played over and rewound and recorded, rewound and recorded. I don't think you understand that a videotape is actually recording the image on that tape. Every time you record another image on that tape, it gets to a point where you have to fucking change the tape because everything's ghosted into one and it just becomes like a blur of white. Surprised they didn't give us one of them. Okay, so 10 hours, and then they go into, when they finally find him, they go into his cell, and we see those ridiculous photos of, like, the laundry room. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like the fucking laundry room in Prisoner, where you go in there and there's, like, baskets of sheets and, like, piles of dirty wash. Give us, like, we don't even know that was his cell. We don't even know that that was his actual cell. Okay, guys? We are relying on the information that they feed us. We're not there. We're not looking at the pictures. We're not in there. We don't know what cell number he was in and the fact that that cell number corresponds with that cell. We just don't. And these are things that we have to face. But, like, one thing I thought when that all happened was, okay, they went into there, and then all we got with those crappy photos is, like, already there's some theory about him being in a hospital gown, and then there's a picture of him being taken out in his jumpsuit, but he was taken, pictures of him were taken in a hospital gown, so did they put him in the gown and then put him back in his jumpsuit? It's very confusing. It's very mysterious. It's very confusing. And we want to know what the freaking truth is. It's as simple as that. We want to know the truth is. But, I mean, cops wear body cameras. Cops wear them. All of them are trying to get them. It's better for them. It's much better for a cop to have a camera on him so that if he does have a justified shooting, he's got backup. That backup is the video. That's his witness. To say, buddy, didn't go down that way. Why can't prison guards have body cams? Don't give me no privacy bullshit. There's no fucking privacy in a prison. There is no... Once you go to prison for a felony like that, you've lost the right to privacy. That's why you're in prison. That's why they have open bars on the cells in most jails. Because there's no privacy. That's not in the brochure. When you go to the clanger, your privacy gone. It's gone. So why don't they wear body cameras? All of that could have been solved with body cameras. The whole fucking thing. So there's that failure. Now, as far as a lot of people have said, Michael Franzese, I talk about him all the time. That's another post-it note off the list. I've done that one. Michael Franzese has said he's stayed in that tier, so he knows that there's just no way that he could have killed himself. He reckons the bunks are so low to the ground, there's no way that you could have hung yourself, because apparently he hung himself and then dropped into the noose, so he asphyxiated himself, and that takes a while. It's not quick. First of all, you got to let everything go, you got to pass out, then you've got to die. It does not. I mean, conveniently, he had fucking 10 hours to do it. Didn't he? Like, you see him in the video with that last bit of him walking down at the bottom of the tier. They're walking him back to his room. Excuse me, cat, go to bed. That's the last footage of him alive, apparently. Not very definitive. Again, no cameras. So according to Michael Francis, the bunks in that tier are so low to the ground that there is no way, unless you like lie down on the ground, and you have to have like a noose that short, so you have to be like lying on the ground and your head has to be up to cause the pressure, because it has to be that short, like stop the airflow. So it just doesn't make sense, does it? So the theory is he committed suicide and was allowed to commit suicide. The biopsy doctor, the autopsy doctor, Baden, I think his name is, he said broken hyoid. That only generally happens when somebody physically strangulates you and snaps the hyoid bone. So somebody either went in there, and how would we see them go in there? We did not see them put Jeffrey Epstein into his cell. We saw him walk past the camera. We saw other people walk past the camera. Where were they going? We don't know. We saw people walk in and out of that door. We don't know where they were going. Where were they going? How do we fucking know that they didn't go in there and strangle him? This is just freaking ridiculous, and it's pointless to argue that that is not a fact. We didn't see him in his cell being escorted into his cell and them closing the door. We did not see him being brought up those stairs and through that door, that corridor, to wherever it led to, supposedly to his cell. We did not see that. However, we did see people go in and out of that door. What were they doing? Where did they go? We need answers to those questions. That's what we need. So let's just say the CIA wasn't involved. And this goes back to, say, Mossad and Israel, which there is a lot of talk about. Let's say that. The CIA didn't stop it. They had every right to, and if they knew about it, they should have. Legally and morally, they shouldn't have allowed it to happen. But they did. Why? Why was it so convenient for them to eliminate Jeffrey Epstein, but not Ghislaine Maxwell, who, as all reports state, was the organisation of the whole thing? She was the organiser. And here I say again, in comparison to the Diddy trial. So the girlfriend, the one that we saw in that horrific video getting her head kicked in by Diddy, it came out in the trial that she organised a lot of the freak-offs. She apparently loved them. She participated in them. This is Ghislaine's job. This was Ghislaine's job. But Diddy's girlfriend's not in jail. She organised them. She's the trafficker. Why isn't she in jail? Why is Ghislaine in jail? More questions. Why is she in jail if all she did was exactly what Diddy's girlfriend did? She organised the girls to come around, have the freak-offs with Epstein, and she joined in. As you know, blind Freddie could see it. So, again, I think Pam Bondi exposing to the president that he was on the file. I mean, we know he was on the file. We know he was on the plane. He was on the plane with his family. He was on the plane with Melania, and I think baby Barron. Now, Barron's what, 20 or 18? So, nobody knew about Jeffrey Epstein 18 years ago, not even Donald Trump. And he was on the plane, yeah, okay, whatever. He was on the plane with his wife and his kid. I doubt he's going to take them to Epstein Island. And I think the flight logs will prove that they didn't go to Epstein Island. So, you know, that's just another fucking, excuse me, hot topic that they can talk about on the mainstream media. The Dems, you know, they've got a chorus line going now. Release the tapes, release the files, show us the client list. They have like Cory Booker out there giving long-winded speeches about how bad everything is and the Democrats are this and that and the other. Doesn't call them out. Doesn't call them out about not calling for the release of the Epstein files during President Biden's term. No, but rails them for voting for a bill that the Republicans, well, it was a bipartisan bill, so I don't know. He obviously needed more airtime. But, you know, as I said, I don't think Trump is using it as leverage. I think Pam Bondi maybe thought that she could use it as leverage to get Trump to relieve the pressure that was mounting on her rapidly at a very rapid pace. So perhaps if anyone was using that information as leverage, perhaps it was Pam Bondi. And so, yes, there's no list, but he had business accounts, he had tax filings, he had people that he worked with, people that he dealt with, people. And we saw the hard drives, people. Stop trying to deny that there was any hard drives. Tell us the previous administration burnt them. They had them in burn bags and they took them down to the incinerator and they burnt them in front of security guards because that's the protocol, right? This stuff that gets burnt has to be witnessed by security guards to make sure that it gets all the way into the fire, right? So they burnt all the videotapes and they burnt all of the hard drives, but they kept the Epstein file and they kept the Russiagate file and this just doesn't make any sense for a bunch of intelligent people. You know, okay. The Dems won't go, we know it's all just a game. The Dems will only go as far as they can without getting involved in themselves or without getting, you know, the old nudge on the shoulder by one of their friends or one of their staff members saying, hey, you know, so-and-so, you know, you actually know that so-and-so's on the list, don't you? And that's as far as they'll go, because one theory I had was that there are so many people that are involved in the Congress and the Senate and that the whole freaking Congress and Senate would be decimated. Everybody would have to be taken to jail. Maybe even some of the females, which would be shocking, I'm sure. But, like, where does that put Trump's administration? Where does that put his agenda? In a stalemate? And these are the reasons why people think that he was using it as leverage. I just think he wants to celebrate all the good things. I don't think he cares that he's in the Epstein files to the point that he needs to hide the Epstein files. I think he just doesn't think that they're relevant really anymore. But the bit that he's not understanding when he goes on these tirades and tells us to shut up is that we're not talking about doing this. We don't want the revenge. This is the revenge. The revenge is Russia, Russia, Russia. That's how we get to the Clintons and the Bushies and the Obamas. That's how we get to them. That's the revenge that we want. We need to see people getting locked up. But this is about human lives being decimated every day as we speak, the longer these clients are kept protected. So, as again I said, I feel that it would be a lot more Dems involved than Republicans. Oh, touch wood, but that's just my feeling. there would be a higher ratio of Democrats because they're perverted, and we know they're perverted. Even the mob used to say that they were the easiest to deal with. They were the easiest ones. You'd offer them a bribe and they'd take it, like, without even a second thought. So, you know, say what you will. The Dems don't care about the crime. They don't care about the rape of a child. They simply have to go in opposition of Trump. They cannot release themselves from the oath that they took in 2016, whether it be to Clinton, Obama, or some sun god that they don't tell us about, that they care about the lives of the people that are still being affected by these horrific crimes. Do you know what I mean? It's just wrong. And they should come out and they should say, no, we've had enough of this. No more Pizzagate. No more this. No more that. No more covering up. We have to fix this. We have to restore morality to not just the country, but the world, because the world will stand up and take notice when America stands up. Simple as that. It really is. As far as Donald Trump calling it all a hoax, a Democrat hoax, I don't believe that. I think this was the Democrat hoax. I think that it was insensitive, can I say, of him to accuse us of being stupid or whatever, but we're not buying into every hoax, President Trump. The Epstein saga, it is not a hoax. It was not a hoax. It never was a hoax. These things actually did happen. We know that. He was charged for them. How it would have ended up in the end, I assume, as said, like Diddy, we don't know because he's dead. So we'll know when we know enough to know that what we know is the truth, then we'll stop. But don't say that we're falling for every hoax. This is not a Democrat hoax. We didn't fall for Russia. We didn't fall for the Ukraine phone call impeachment. We didn't fall for any of the hoaxes. We didn't even fall for the COVID vaccine hoax, much to your chagrin. We're MAGA. We're not dumb. And that's all I've got to say about Jeffrey Epstein. I hope that he rots in fucking hell, and every day somebody sits there lighting matches and burning his toes all day long, constantly. One match burns, the next match lights. One match burns, the next match lights. That's how I want Jeffrey Epstein to be living his afterlife. Because he's a disgusting piece of vermin that should never have been allowed to walk the corners of this earth, but was by somehow graced the gift of knowing high and mighty people like Donald Barr, and then Prince Andrew, Ghislaine Maxwell, her father, who we all know was frickin' involved in Israeli business up to his fucking eyeballs. So, rotten hell, the fucking lot of you. Ghislaine, let me just say this. If you want to be the big girl in this whole situation and come out and tell us everything that fucking happened, don't fucking sugarcoat it. Don't fucking lie to us. Don't try to protect Jeffrey. He's dead now. There's nothing you can do. Tell us the whole dirty, ugly truth. And I will fucking go out with my megaphone and frickin' chant, release Ghislaine. Give her immunity. She is a fucking hero. That's how I feel about what Ghislaine Maxwell could contribute to this conversation. If she had the balls, if anyone's got the balls to give her immunity, and like you can't just give her immunity and say, you know, whatever you say now. We need proof. Apparently she gave her something like 100 names of people. So no client list is there, Bondi, but where'd these 100 names come from all of a sudden? Come on, give me a break. Yeah, I think that's about it, really. That's about sort of... Oh, there was a couple of things that I did want to sort of mention. Oh, yeah, there was one thing that I was thinking to myself, because they're all talking about Trump being in the files. And it's like, because Trump's in the files, he's automatically connected to Epstein and these dirty things that he did. But I thought to myself, well, hang on a minute. I might sit next to a serial killer on a bus on the fucking way home. Doesn't mean I am a serial killer. I might, like, the guy that sits next to me every week at the football could be a fucking serial killer. But I chat with him, I talk to him, I say good day, talk to his little daughter or granddaughter, I think it is. But he could be a serial killer. I don't know him, doesn't mean I'm a fucking serial killer. It's just, this is the comparison. This is the Democrats want to try and draw this link from Trump to Epstein and all the sexual shit in between. That stupid fucking letter. I hope he wins that, suing them, because that's just ridiculous. Like, seriously. Draw a booby woman? Come on. Give me a break. These people are crazy. Okay, so we've done Sarah Sweeney. Mainstream media is like begrudgingly having to admit that the tariffs are working. Inflation is stable. There is barely any inflation. You had 3% GDP. The jobs are a little bit touchy. Apparently they readjusted them down or something, but the jobs that are being taken, well, like Jesse said on The Five the other day, is the fruit dying on the vine with all of the illegals that were picking it being deported? Is the fruit dying on the vine? Or is it still turning up in the shop? Are American workers maybe now picking fruit? Are people that need a second job picking fruit? Because Jerome Powell won't lower the fucking interest rate like our goddamn treasurer. So yeah, they've had to begrudgingly, very begrudgingly, admit that the tariffs are working. The Dems are in the toilet. Their whole fucking party is at the lowest rating ever in like Democrat history, or 50 years or something like that, 60 years or whatever it is. And it's just, and it's all because of Joe Biden. It's all because of Joe Biden. It's all because of the pardons, the auto pen, the scandals, the cover-ups. They've done this to themselves. You know, I was thinking to myself the other day, and I've said to my friends, there was such an easy way to figure out, like that James Comer has got all of these people coming into Congress to like do these closed door meetings, and you know, half of them pleading the fifth, obviously. I mean, what does that tell you straight away? When everybody knows if you plead the fifth, there's something that you don't want to say because you think they're going to charge you for saying it. So you've done something wrong that you know is wrong because you're taking the Fifth Amendment so you don't have to say it. So we know that there's something wrong. But they could have saved themselves all those subpoenas, all of that time, all of the struggle sessions, and just called one person in, Joe Biden. Subpoena Joe Biden, closed door interview, no problem, but it has to be recorded, obviously, and ask him one question. He pardoned something like 8,000 people in those last few days or weeks in the White House. Just pick someone at random and ask him, Do you remember these guys? Do you remember why you pardoned them? What was it about these guys that made you feel that they deserved a full pardon from death row? Oh, death row, you say? I don't remember anything about death row. Case closed. Case fucking closed, people. That's all it would take. One question, one subpoena, one interview, one afternoon. Problem solved. And then everybody that got one of those pardons, except Hunter, of course. Because Hunter's, not only was Hunter's not written with the auto pen, there's no way that Joe could ever forget why Hunter was pardoned. Or well, at least while he's got memory of what he did as well. So yeah, one question, one subpoena, one afternoon. James Comer, I'm giving you that advice for free. We found out that the starving kids in Gaza was a hoax. Although, is it a hoax as much as it's a hoax? Or is it just a complete flat-out hoax? I think it's the first one, because I don't doubt that there are people that are dying of hunger. Well, not dying of hunger, but are hungry and going without food because Hamas is keeping it. They reckon that NATO's keeping it from them. They're talking about the French freaking recognising Palestine as a state. Give me a break. Honestly, they're fucking working themselves up to the point where I'm just going to say, just Hiroshima them. Just drop a Hiroshima screamer on Palestine and be done with this whole fucking thing. Just be done with it. And anybody else tries to do the same, anyone tries to retaliate, we're done with your bullshit. We're done with your bullshit. Bye-bye. See ya. Go to Egypt. Go fuck their land up. That's why they don't want them there. Because they're animals. They don't give a fuck about life. They don't care. All they want is their 100 virgins. Even the women. Some good debates. There was some good debates happening around town. AJ and Nick Fuentes. Although AJ has Nick on, not often, but he's had him on a few times. They were supposed to have some sort of debate, and it was supposed to be like AJ was on Trump's side and Fuentes was on, the opposition. But it turned into more of a discussion than a debate, and sadly I have to admit that some of his points I even agreed with. He handled himself well, and I hate Nick Fuentes. I hate him almost as much as I hate Milo Yiannopoulos, but he handled himself with grace-ish. Didn't lose it. He didn't go on tangents. He answered the questions. He gave his reasoning. Some of his reasoning I happen to agree with. So, you can watch that. It's on X. Just Google AJ. Go on X and put in AJ's handle and you'll see it on there. Candace Owens is getting sued by the Macrons for her continuous and contritious assumptions and accusations that Brigitte Macron is actually her brother. What was his name? John something Trogno. So Brigitte Macron was in real life. Brigitte Macron was the sister, and this is Candace Owens' theory, not mine. She got sick and died, and the brother was always living as a woman under another name, as a different name, when the sister died, this is, again, Candace's theory, she gifted him her identity on her deathbed and said, do with it what you will, my darling brother. And thus becomes page 1 of Brigitte Trogneu's rise to an ascendancy to the First Lady of France. With, of course, the help from some very good doctors, some very good lawyers, some pretty cutthroat fucking people. Considering she was grooming a 14-year-old boy at school because she was so hot. I don't know. Go watch the podcast, Candace's podcast. You'll see pictures of her when she was teaching. She actually just looks like the standard 70s PE teacher to me. That's what she looked like. Or he. I don't know. So, yeah, that was pretty good. There was a really good one. Patrick Bet-David interviewed Laura Loomer. Ooh, a few controversies there. She was talking about how Ron DeSantis, she knew that Ron DeSantis was going to run for president in 2021 because somebody that she knew it was just after January 6th, apparently, she said. It was just after January 6th, and she was having lunch with somebody who was a wealthy guy, donator, and blah, blah, blah. And he let it slip that he was running for president in not exactly those words, but she figured it out by probing further, and yeah, so he shot himself in the foot rises, in the shoe lifts, because if he just waited, if he just hadn't tried to run, although, it wasn't just him that tried to run, there were others, but, the standard complement, the Nikki Haley's, the Chris Christie's, the Mike Pence's, they all lasted 3 seconds. His saving grace was getting out when he did. That's all I can say for Ron DeSantis. And if he keeps his head down, keeps doing good work in Florida, he could possibly stand a chance in 2028. You never know. The vice president doesn't always become the nominee. And if he campaigns well, which he didn't last time, so good luck with that. Yeah, there is still a chance that he could live his dream and become the president of the United States, but, don't bet your bottom dollar on it just yet, Ronnie. Is that all? I feel like I'm missing something. I did want to talk about, this is what I wanted to talk about. This bloody TikTok shit. Fucking TikTok again. Right. Let me just find it on here. Hang on. Let me just see. Bloody, these fucking Dems, I swear to God, you keep throwing good money after bad with these people. With their TikTok fucking bullshit. I should be at work now, but I'm fucking in the gym. I should be at work now, but I'm pumping iron. I should be at work now, but I'm swimming. I'm playing baseball. What the actual? Like, oh my God, please. With gym workout. Let's see what that says. Come on. All right. Right, this one here.
Women fill.
This isn't. Okay, hang on. Let me just see if there's a longer version of it. Because there might be a longer version of it. All right, this one. Gutfeld. Oh, we've got to do Gutfeld. We love Gutfeld. Gutfeld's so good at doing this stuff. And He's gone on Jimmy Fallon tonight. Like, who? Like, gut. He's got the guts to go on Jimmy Fallon. And you know what? I bet you 100%, $100,000 million he's going to be funnier than Fallon and he'll never be invited back there again. That's just what I think. Although he's pretty, chill, so he might be nice and do the right thing and try and be less funny. Let Fallon get laughs for a while. God, poor old Stephen Colbert. He's lost his little... Oh, I hope he keeps digging at CBS and they do piss him off. Because he's just, so annoying. I think he has ruined a generation of television for people. Not just a generation, generations of television for people like myself who used to watch The Tonight Show and stuff like that with all the greats, Jay Leno and Jimmy, oh bloody hell, oh my God, I can't think of his name. You know who I'm talking about. All the great hosts, and he murdered that show. Stephen Colbert murdered The Late Show. And I think as his judge, jury and executioner, he should be sentenced to 12 months hard time on the View panel. Day in, day out, 12 months, sick, rain, hail or shine. 12 months on the View panel for you, Stephen Colbert. Because it is more than you deserve to even be still seen on the public airwaves. Thank you very much. Okay, we all seen this and we all heard about this, but it is funny as hell.
Hey, it's video of the day. Hey.
The lover of a Chinese spy fails to prove he's a guy. Our video of the day comes to us from Democrat weenie Eric Swalwell, who tried to appear athletic while attacking Republicans for a scheduled government recess. Roll it, Dario.
I should be working right now. I should be in Congress. I should be voting to lower your costs. But instead, I'm in a pool because Republicans sent everyone home because they don't want to release the Epstein files. I should be working right now.
You want to talk about a waste of time? How many times did they do that in order to get that right? Someone should have tossed him a plugged-in toaster. It would have been less embarrassing. Unfortunately, he didn't stop there.
I should be working right now. Instead, I'm going to be pitching for the Dublin Leprechauns. I should be working right now. I should be at the Capitol. I should be in a suit. Instead, Republicans sent us home. I should be working right now. Instead, I'm pumping iron at the gym.
It's weird because, like, AOC is hanging over on the top, filming it, trying to get the right shot. I'm sorry, man. Shooting baskets won't make us forget you're a basket case. And with a bench press like that, no one will mind if you use the women's locker room. Aaron, you know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of an ex trying to win you back, like so desperate. Like, look at me, look what I'm doing. I'm in the gym. I'm in the pool, alone with no friends.
I mean, if that's how an ex gets you back, ugh, I don't want to know what that relationship was actually like. But Eric Swalwell gives me the ick, and not just because he's like a try-hard Democrat, but because he's showing every reason he shouldn't be elected to Congress. You're walking around saying, I should be doing my job. Do that in any other job in the country. Be like, I should be at work doing my job, but instead I'm jerking around doing whatever else I want to do today. He's not making a point, and in it, he's even saying, I should be voting to lower your costs. The same Eric Swalwell who voted for the terribly named Inflation Reduction Act, which put costs up, made everything more expensive, raised inflation in this country, and voted against the One Big Beautiful Bill, which allows Americans to have a tax cut and keep more of their money. So while Eric Swalwell seems to be flailing in a pool, and I have to say, I feel really bad for his comm staff. Not only do they have to watch all the outtakes and probably the bad clips, then they gotta be that staffer standing over him on the bench and then put the text on top to try to make it look good. Swalwell is a joke, but hey, here's your front runner, Democrats 2028, Eric Swalwell. Let's go. That genius is the guy who's gonna lead the charge.
He did sink that basket, so that makes him a candidate for the WNBA, except he doesn't have balls. So, what? I meant that metaphorically, not biologically. What do you think I am? Trace, you are actually a professional athlete. Am I right?
You are right,
Yes.
Greg.
You are a professional water skier.
I was.
Yes.
I was.
You were a trick skier.
I was. We have the video? Oh, I wish I had sent the video in.
The only video I have of you, I keep for myself on a loop.
I'm surprised, by the way, that Eric Swalwell, I think Aaron's right. I'm surprised that Eric Swalwell was doing the bench press, about 135 pounds.
Yeah.
Very surprised because he perfected the jerk a long time ago. But I guess the jerking every day is monotonous.
And before him, Chris Matthews was doing the squat.
Right. But
why can't I let this go?
Yeah.
I can't let it go, Trace.
I know.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, you know, Kennedy. I feel like we're seeing a collective identity crisis. Like you're seeing so many of these people who don't really know what they are, and they're going like, okay, if all my belief system is crumbling, what am I? Well, I was told that if I go to the gym, guys will like me.
Yes, but you're also told that if you go to the gym and if you eat protein, then you suffer from toxic masculinity.
True.
And
yes.
If you are a man, you are an oppressor, and you're probably a secret rapist.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're like, oh, wait, why aren't guys voting for us?
Yeah.
And then Eric Swalwell tried to untuck his scrotum and carry everything out into the open. But it's like, I was watching that, and you know that was the 20th take of the pool shot.
Yeah.
And it's like he tried to show his pecs and his traps and his nipples. And, you know, I think of poor Feng Feng having to watch that. And she's like, oh, I had that in my mouth. Oh! Ah! I remember that. Even the memory tastes so gay. Ah! But as awful as he is, he's actually probably a more viable candidate in 2028 than Gavin Newsom.
Joe, you're also an elite athlete. But you don't have to act. You don't have to act like an athlete. And that's the problem with the Democrats. People keep telling him to act a certain way.
Doesn't matter how many reps he can do at 135. Eric Swalwell is not fit to carry my softball mitt, Greg. But I will say this, you don't want to exercise in a video if you want to get people's attention. I've learned that from my social media posts where I do the hip abductor in short shorts. It costs me more fans than anything else.
Yes.
This is one of those cases where it's right message, wrong messenger, because he really doesn't believe that he should be going back to Washington to lower costs. He doesn't believe that he shouldn't be on vacation right now. Also, maybe pro tip, if you want to relate to people, don't show your vacation being at this awesome pool above a lake house. He has 2 places to go swimming right now. Mm-hmm. What was it? He couldn't do a video from his helicopter to relate to the people?
Yeah, he's again though. They're all trying to out-Trump Trump, but Trump doesn't act. He just is what he is, and there is no is for them. That's the problem.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to.
That's the problem. That's not just the problem. That's not the only problem that they've got. Trust me. They've got plenty of problems. We've got like 212 of them in Congress. 209 more. But one thing that I will say that Eric Swalwell got right was he should be at fucking work. Fucking recess or no. Just because the goddamn Congress is closed. And as we heard, a scheduled recess. So this was, they knew it was coming. This is not because they didn't want to release the Epstein files. This was a scheduled recess. Why are you not out in your electorate talking to your constituents, Eric? Why are you at home alone wanking in a pool? Why are you sweating up a gym bench when you should be out in the streets talking to your constituents and finding out what it is exactly they want you to do as you represent them in Congress? When you go back, after you finish your scheduled recess, you can have a little notebook, you can write down ideas, and when you go back to Congress, you can take those ideas and pass them to your colleagues. Then you might have a chance of getting something done and winning some votes again and getting out of the toilet. Because at this point, that's the only place that you belong, is in the toilet. You're insulting your own voters by putting that shit out on TikTok. And I agree with the redheaded girl when she said, I feel sorry for his staffers that have to deal with that shit, right? So you should be at work. You should be working anyway. A scheduled recess doesn't mean you slot in gym time and baseball practice, Eric. Why? Like, really? Now, as we know, that after that episode of Gutfeld, this is what's been on the news today. Well, my today, not your today, but you'll see it. You've seen it yesterday. Your yesterday. Because my today is still my today. Oh, no, it's not. My today's tomorrow now. But anyway, the next day we had Eric Swalwell go on X and challenge Greg Gutfeld to a pump off. I don't know what else to call it. But like, if Gutfeld can beat him, he'll leave Congress, and if he beats Gutfeld, he has to, what do you think he says? He has to leave television. Anyway, let's just watch this clip and you can, this one's about 13 minutes long, so we might not watch it all. We'll see how we go, see how funny it is. But it's just hilarious. As I said, this guy should be working. He's making a mockery of himself and his constituents by putting this shit on TikTok, and now making it even worse by challenging Greg Gutfeld to a pump off. Really? A pump off? Is he a grown man or what?
About his cheesy workout video by challenging me to a bench press contest. I got to say, it's nice to see him pump something besides a Chinese spy. Thank you. Speaking of Eric, you remember that workout video we showed you the other night, the one that looked about as high impact as hydrotherapy at a nursing home? But because we ragged the video, the poor sap, a.k.a. Fat Dexter, has challenged me to a bench press contest. And the loser, he says, has to quit their job. Yes, Swalwell, the only man to ever be outlifted in the Capitol gym by the groundhog on Maxine Waters' head, says he wants to meet me in the weight room. Now, perhaps it's all a plan to get me in the gym sauna by himself. But Swalwell also claimed that he had never heard of me. Right. Nice try, Eric. Everyone knows me. I'm so famous you can't go to a Cambodian prison without hearing my name.
Greg!
You still wearing cargo pants that feel like cardboard? That's why you need bearskin cargo pants.
Well, that brings back memories. But that's why I never leave the house. So, Eric, if you really want anyone to take you seriously, you might try truth instead of being so damn thirsty. It's why you got honeypotted by a Chinese spy. She looked at you and thought, a socially inept dork who hasn't got his weenie wet since a field trip to the water slide in 7th grade. I got this one. I mean, what else could she see in a guy who looks like he buys boner pills from the New Zealand dark web? Maybe it's because you once rode a camel? Shirtless? Wow, I'm looking at that picture and wondering which hairy beast retains more water. Oh, thank you. Little camel humor. And who can forget when he ran for president and electrified an audience of none?
I will be that president because I have lived that struggle and I know how hard you work and what you expect it to add up to. But I will always be real with you. I will be bold without the bowl.
Well, that went over about as well as a kissing booth at a funeral. Amazing. But that isn't his only claim to fame. Before he broke bread with a spy, he was breaking wind on live TV. Remember? Roll it, Sven.
The evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election.
It was the fart heard round the world. Or at least in D.C. Hell, over at the Lincoln Memorial, even Abe got up and lit a match. No wonder Fang Fang went back to Beijing. No classified info is worth smelling that. Which gets me back to this weightlifting challenge. I'm just not willing to share a gym with a guy who has uncontrollable flatulence. And I mean, it's bad. In fact, our audio team enhanced the sound of that video he posted of himself working out. I know, and what they discovered may shock you. Here it is with full sound.
Block your ears.
I should be working right now. I should be at the Capitol. I should be in a suit. Instead, Republicans sent us home because they would rather stand up for Donald Trump
just losing
than
it
release the
in the
Epstein files
background.
and stand up for victims. We could be at Washington, D.C., lowering your healthcare costs, lowering your grocery costs, and restoring your rights. I should be working right now. Instead, I'm probably dying here.
Oh, man. You know, I hope for the sake of others he wiped down the bench afterwards. But this is what the Democrats are left with, just sad, thirsty videos of baby men seeking attention. But this whole party has lost its mind. What's next? Is Cory Booker going to challenge me to a tug of war? Will Rashida Tlaib want me to engage in a beard-growing contest? Will Jerry Nadler threaten me with a turd off? But Swalwell is a reflection of the party itself. It's an unqualified mess. Trump is scoring on pretty much every front right now: the border, the economy, foreign policy. Meanwhile, everyone hates the Dems. The party is less popular than Andrew Cuomo at bingo night. But it's the remaining men of the party who are truly sad. An emasculated pocket of limp dicks in search of some spiritual Viagra. Seriously, what do men do when they no longer know what men do? Theater. They thirst for attention. Then when rightfully mocked, they thirst for more. But underneath the lack of self-awareness is insecurity because they know they suck and it's never going to get better. The Dems can't debate the issues. They can't point to any wins. They have no leaders. And poor Eric is just a Nero in Nikes flexing for TikTok while his party burns. So thanks for the offer, fart man. But I'm afraid I'm not going to be your ticket out of irrelevance. I'm busy lifting other things. America's spirits, Fox News ratings, and Dana so she can reach a doorknob. Let's welcome tonight's guest!
You just gotta love Gutfeld. He's so cute and squishy. And he just had a baby. So he's a good dad. Okay, last but not least, now let me just quickly see if I can find that. I'm gonna, I think you'll know what I'm talking about when I get to it. Oh, it was nice to hear Bill Maher actually concede that the tariffs are working. It was quite refreshing, actually, to hear it verbalized. So, we might be in with a chance still to turn Bill Maher into a conservative, Trump-loving, MAGA hat-wearing Republican. I don't know about that. But anyway, it's worth a shot. Okay, last but not least, I can't think of, I think it's Jason Cummings. I'm not sure. He's been in quite a few things. I can't think of what he was in at the moment, but he's like a big weirdo in his normal life. And the other day he was on Jimmy Fallon calling out trans people as superheroes. And it just got myself and other commentators wondering about where he gets this idea from. Because, anyway, let's just watch it.
Millions of Americans are obsessed with this idea that trans people are attacking women in bathrooms. Do you know what trans people do in the bathroom? They poop and they pee. And I'm sure they always wash their hands afterwards. And why on earth, this is what gets me, why on earth would a rapist go to the bother of pretending to be trans in a country that actually treats rapists better than trans people? Just like superheroes, trans people are born with something special and magical about them, and they often have to hide what's special and magical about them from other people. Like superheroes, they grow up in a society that doesn't understand them, that makes them the other and often hates them. Like superheroes, trans people just want the world to be a safer place, and they believe we should protect each other and live our lives in peace. Like superheroes, evil billionaires want to get rid of trans people for no reason whatsoever. And just like superheroes, trans people are not new. They've been around forever and they're not going anywhere, no matter how much this administration tries to make you fear them.
Okay. I think that's self-fucking-explanatory. Don't you? Trans people are not superheroes. Superheroes all end in either male or female pejoratives. Pejoratives? I don't know. Anyway, Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, Batgirl, Aquaman, Supergirl. Kind of seeing a pattern. Although they're trying very, very, very hard to force down our throats a transgender superhero. They're trying it with all the Star Wars. They're trying it with the bloody Disney movies. How's that fucking working for you? Cummins? How's that fucking working for you? Because it doesn't seem to be working at all. There's no evil fucking billionaires trying to get rid of trans people. We know that trans people have been around forever, since the beginning of time. I guess if you want to go as far back as cavemen when they were all wearing bear skins and animal skins, then maybe they were all kind of wearing skirts. Whatever. They're not superheroes. They're just normal people. No one's trying to get rid of them. No one's persecuting them. We just don't want you chopping off our kids' dicks and boobs anymore. That's all. We don't want you feeding them drugs to stop them having their normal teenage hormonal changes. We don't want that anymore. We don't want to allow doctors to take those decisions out of our hands, and we're not going to let you walk all over us and guilt and shame us into allowing you to do it, or outright stealing our kids from us. We're not. Well, I know I'm not, and I know a lot of people are not. I know a lot of people fight to save their children from these monsters. So, that. Enjoy your film career for as long as it lasts. When it's over, buy yourself a tutu. Maybe you can be relevant again. And that is that. Mr. Cummins has been spoken about. So I think I've gone through pretty much all of my stuff. I've gotten down to 3 post-it notes. And one of them was Gavin Newsom's speech, which was lame-o. I wrote lame-o. Gavin Newsom's speech, lame-o. Right? I can't even remember. I can't actually even remember which speech. It just bloviates all the time. I can't remember which speech it was that he was talking about. And then I've got the Trump's health, that when a few weeks ago when they were going on about not releasing Trump's, this is just like they were trying to deflect. That's right. Jake Tapper's, the authors of that bloody book, Alex, whatever his name was talking about Trump not being forthcoming with his health reports. Hello? You just fucking wrote a book about the most untransparent fucking presidency in the United States history. Want to talk about lack of transparency? He sprained his knee, he broke his foot. He wore a boot, he's not wearing a boot. He's got cancer, he hasn't got cancer. Transparency much? They didn't even tell us what he got on his fucking IQ test. Why? Because he's got no fucking IQ. He's jelly. He's pudding. And so that leaves me with my last post-it note of incel, the explanation of what incel meant. I did have another post-it note here, but that's going on the Jeffrey Epstein file. It's an acronym for CSAM. It's an acronym for Child Sexual Abuse Material. So that was another thing that I learned in my little deep dive into Epstein. And incel, involuntary celibate. So that was the thing that I maybe want to talk about in the next few days, hopefully, if I've got the mojo, or it can be fucked getting out here. It's bloody cold out here, you know. It's actually not too bad when I've got both the heaters on, but it's fucking cold. It's winter, and it's like 3:30 in the morning, so it's bloody cold. But Ryan Kohlberger and the Idaho killings, there's like, and I know it's over and done with, and I know it's, but just some things about that story that really sort of perplex me, like the girl that witnessed him walking out of the house simply went back to bed and slept and did not call the police for 8 hours. What? She got up to complain about the noise 3 times before that, and then she sees some dude with a mask skulking out of the house, and she doesn't say anything. What the actual? That and more. Anyway, so that incel, that last post-it note belongs to Ryan Kohlberger, and we will deal with him in a future episode. So, and I think there's a couple of documentaries that I might, we can watch along together, because this is where I hear all of this stuff, a lot of these cute, documentaries that you just, sometimes you think, like that AI stuff, oh God, that pisses me off. You click on it because the headline's great. It's clickbait, 100%. But I did see a couple of good ones. So perhaps on another soon podcast, we can delve into that a little bit more. But as for that, I am going to bed. I've got it's 3:30 in the morning, and I have got a lunch appointment tomorrow at 2 p.m, which might as well be 5 a.m. at the moment. yeah, so I'm going to get going. Got planned my trip for Europe. So we're off to Europe at the end of the year, and we're going to do some train bookings and stuff like that. I wish the disparity on the exchange rate would go up, but it's just so frustrating. You save so hard to go on holiday, you get over there and you lose half your money straight away. It's so hate finance. I hate it. Anyway, so guys, let's end here, and hopefully we can get together again very soon. But as usual, when we leave, we always say the same 3 things. Got to keep the faith. We have got to follow the facts, no matter where they lead you, and find the fight. So, thanks for joining. Have a great night, guys. MAGA out.